Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the chat. Happy Friday, going into Labor Day weekend here in the States. Glad you are all here joining me. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me okay, see me okay. Let me know where you're from so I know you're here. And, we'll get started. We have a couple of people here, and we will, hopefully more people will join as the chat gets underway. Tom, Q Tech Tips, if you're still here, I do appreciate you joining and checking in and catching up with it later. Thank you. I appreciate that. Johnny Rayo, hello. Yes, part of it's for the home improvement. We're going to talk about that. And David Grishko, hello, hello. So we have, I know, David, you're from Canada, correct? We have Johnny Rayo from Panama here with us. And David Grishko, how is your build coming along? Speaking of house projects, and if I remember, we're not really too far behind, are we? But yeah. So anyway, we have a beautiful day here in Southeast North Carolina. It is finally breaking as far as the humidity. It's been a pretty rough couple of weeks, but today we have mid-70 weather and the humidity is low, and it's just a beautiful day. In fact, we're going to have another day like that tomorrow, and I think I'm going to be jumping on the Harley with a bunch of my buddies and doing a little bit of either a breakfast or a lunch ride. Take care of it, take advantage of the nice weather. So yeah. Let's see. Ooh, David says, I am from Washington State. What made me think you were from Canada, Dave? I know Bob's from Canada, but anyway, let's see. David says, frame is up, going to do roof, siding, and windows soon. Okay, cool. Very cool. Jeremy, hello from Michigan. Beautiful day here as well, Jeremy says. Thank you for joining us, Jeremy. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. I actually didn't think this stream was going to happen. Talk about you never know with technology, right? I always give myself enough time to prepare. I got to the studio today around 12 o'clock, maybe 12:15. And normally when I come to the studio to do recordings and stuff like that, everything just works. You know, I leave everything on most of the time and everything just works. Well, today, of course, because we have a live scheduled, right? I had all kinds of technical problems, and I was like really starting to think like, wow, I'm glad I got here and just didn't show up like 20 minutes before. The stream deck went bazonkers. I mean, it was just going off the wall. There were things programmed on it like that I never put on there, right? So I was just like, all right, plug and unplug the USB, let it reset itself. No. Go into Companion. Well, Companion wouldn't launch, and now I'm going, okay. Companion finally comes up, and I rescan the USB bus. Nothing. So finally I decide let's just shut everything all down, right? And go from there and just fire everything down. The ATEM, the monitors, the iPad, the whole bit, computer. Did that, started everything back up. Stream Deck came back to life the way it's supposed to be with all the macros and everything that I have programmed in there. And then I noticed my secondary monitor that I use to show things in the live stream is not on. So anyway, not to belabor that, but it's just one of those things where you just never know what's going to happen, especially when you're live, right? When you're planning on going live. So in any event, welcome everybody. Let's see if anyone else is here. What are we talking about today? So, well, I'm going to not keep this, I'm not going to go on, I hopefully not go on forever. I want to kind of see if we can keep this to under an hour 45, like an hour or maybe just 45 minutes. We'll see. Just wanted to reach out to everybody. It's been about 4 weeks since I did my last stream. And a couple of things I wanted to talk about today, or just a quick talk about the channel itself and, where it's at, and I guess where, some upcoming milestones that we're about to hit. give you a quick update on the house. Most of you who have been following the streams over the last couple of months have seen videos and pictures and things like that. I want to give a quick update on that church project that I was working on back in the spring. And then I just want to talk about a bunch of stuff I have. Let me just see if I can switch over to that camera real quick. I have just a bunch of stuff that I ordered over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And it's all there. And I'm not going to unbox everything today and go through each piece with you. I'm just going to kind of go through it all and share with you what it is and why I purchased it. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Some of that was purchased, obviously, anything that was purchased for the house was purchased with house money. I mean, like my money, out of my own funds. But some of that is for the channel as well. And I just want to say that your contributions, your super chats in the live streams, by the way, super chats are enabled if you feel so inclined. Your support through Patreon, all that has contributed. I always say that all that stuff supports the channel and it goes back into the channel. And I have things here that I purchased quite a few $100s that are going back into the channel. And we'll talk about that as we go through that. So let's see who's here. Johnny Rayo says, things happen, bro. Absolutely. Yeah. And the whole point, I guess, in bringing that up was that you should just always prepare and plan ahead and give yourself enough time to deal with things that arise just like this. So, but yes, absolutely 100%. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the channel. Let me bring up this. Let's put this here and pop that there. All right, so just looking at a couple of milestones we met, or a milestone we met right here. About a couple of weeks ago, we hit 2 million views, which I thought is pretty cool. And if you look down here, we are coming up to 15,000 subscribers. And I have to say, I am really like so thankful and so so appreciative. I just can't imagine that this channel is going to hit 15,000 subscribers soon. The 2 million views I thought was really cool when I saw that. I really wasn't tracking that. I mean, I do look at some of the analytics and things like that and try to look at, click-through rates and view time and stuff like that. But I wasn't really paying attention to the views overall. So when I hit that milestone, I was really psyched. I was happy about that. And then we'll be coming up on the 15,000K subs. And I was kind of hoping the channel, in the beginning of this year, I think my goal I had put out in a post was I'd like to see the channel hit 20,000 in 2021. But you know what? 15K is nothing to sneeze about. And I'm super stoked. I'm super happy. Again, when I started this channel, I had no idea that I would even see 100 viewers. So we're approaching 15,000. And question for you all, and I'm not going to do a survey, just a quick question. If you're here and you hear the question, just respond. I was thinking about doing some form of giveaway, and I'm not sure if I want the giveaway milestone to be 15K or 20K. So just your thoughts on that, let me know. So yeah, so that's where we are with the channel. As far as the house is concerned, I'm looking at the comments as we go, and if I don't see anything in the comments to stop and bring up on the screen, then I'm just going to keep going through the agenda. So as far as the house is concerned, we are about 8 weeks out from closing is what they told me last. So the cabinets are going in as we speak. In fact, I stopped there today. The cabinets are going in. The floor tile is going in the bathrooms. So we're moving right along. Everything's been primed. And yeah, I mean, 8 weeks away, I'm excited. I've been doing some, because we're 8 weeks away, I've been doing a little thinking about that studio. Now let me bring up the studio room one more time. Just a picture of it right there. So this is the space, and in this area right here, there's going to be a floor outlet for electric. That's going to be one circuit, probably the circuit for video. Then there is going to be an outlet over here, which is a separate circuit from the rest of these that I'm going to use for audio, so that I'm separating the audio and the video, like I mentioned in a different live stream. But what I was up there this week was to take measurements this way, because I'm thinking about changing out my desk. I'm also thinking about getting a sit-stand desk that I could adjust the height. I just wanted to make sure. I was looking at one that's 74 inches. I just wanted to make sure that I had that kind of room. And then another thing I'm going to throw out to you all, because I want your feedback on this, is you can see by the size of the room, I'm going to have to do some kind of sound treatment. So currently in this studio here in front of me and to the left of me, I have huge sound blankets, the big black ones, and they're doing a pretty good job. But I was looking at these right here on Amazon. I was looking at these sound absorbing acoustic panels. Now, I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to go with this particular brand, but just to kind of show you an idea of what I'm considering. Because in that space, oh, hold on one second. In that space, there we go. You can see the angled ceilings here and here, the straight down walls. I was thinking about putting those 2x4 acoustic panels along the ceilings, the angled ceiling, across the top where I can, in between the fan and the lights, and then as well as down the side walls as well. And then maybe just putting, because they'll be probably from the front of the desk to this wall, probably a good 6 to 7 feet. I was just thinking about draping a big sound blanket on a stand in this area here in front of the desk setup. So it is quite pricey to go the route of the acoustic panels. Now, I was also looking at the DIY ones where I could probably make the frame by the dense foam and some material and staple it all together, nail it together, put the foam in and staple the material. But I could probably make them for about $25 a pop, which is a lot less than the $65 that you see there. So anyway, thoughts on that, let me know. So that's what's been going on as far as the house is concerned. Let's see, Johnny Rayo says, giveaway on 15,000 sounds just great, and maybe it will push your channel to 20,000. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of where I'm leaning to, Johnny, although I kind of feel like, I want subscribers because they want to come and connect with me, learn more about me, and, maybe benefit from some of the information that I learn and that I turn around and I share. I don't want to, I don't want to get subscribers for just the fact that because I give things away. But yeah, I am kind of leaning towards the 15,000K as well. I haven't quite figured out what that's going to be yet, but, and again, anybody else in the comments, please give me your feedback on that. Give me your feedback on what do you think? Acoustic panels versus just sound blankets. Aesthetically, the sound blankets are ugly as far as I'm concerned, but they work, and so much is going into making that room that I'm almost thinking, just do it up with the acoustic panels, make it look aesthetically pleasing as well. I'm just not 100% quite sure how effective they are. So any comments or any feedback you have on that, I'm open to it. Hello, Steve Dees from Nebraska. How's the weather out there, Steve, in Nebraska? And thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for being here. All right. So that's what's going on kind of with the house. We're just getting near the closing date. We spoke with the landscapers. We came up with a landscaping plan. Everything's in place. I'm probably not going to get into the house to be able to start terminating and testing the cables until we take possession, even though the builder considers me a subcontractor in a sense. I think I'm just going to stay out of their way, and just go in once I have full ownership and just take my time and do things. So that said, I did pick up, and hopefully I won't destroy things here, but I did pick up I'm not going to unbox them, but I did pick up 2 Unify switches, addition to what I have. My router is the Edge Router 6P, and I'm going to keep that. I'm going to use a Protectly running OpenSense in the beach house where we're currently staying. And what I'll probably do is just create a site-to-site VPN between the Edge Router 6P and the OpenSense box once we get moved in. But I currently own that 6P. I currently have a US 16 port 150 watt switch. I'm keeping that, and I'm adding to it which one is this? I'm adding to it the US aggregation, the 10 gig switch. That'll be the switch connected right off the router, and then off the aggregation switch, I'll connect the 16 port 150 watt PoE switch, and then I bought just the regular US 24. I was thinking about getting the new one, the US 24 PoE. It's been out of stock for so long that, when it came to thinking about it, I was like, okay, I already have a PoE switch, and I don't have more than 16 PoE devices in the house. So that 16 port switch could serve just fine powering up the devices that need PoE. And I just want to say, if you see me looking up, I do want to apologize. I got to remember where the camera is. I put a confidence monitor up on top of the camera now, and my eyes are just getting drawn to it. So, and that's something new that I have in this stream. So, so the aggregation switch connecting to the 16 port PoE switch, the aggregation switch connecting to the 24 port switch, and that'll take care of all the other non-PoE devices. And it was a little cheaper than spending for the layer 3 switch, which really I don't feel like I need layer 3 in the house, but in any event, so those are the 2 new additions that'll be going into the rack. Let's see what we got here. Let's go back to the comments for a second. And hello, Andre Muller. Muller, yes. Or is it Mueller? I apologize if I'm saying it incorrectly. Hi, and welcome to the channel. And Andre also says, are there Wi-Fi access points? Yes, there are Wi-Fi access points. In fact, one of them, actually all 3 of them are right here. I have the Grand Stream 60 GWN 7630, 2 of these, and then I also have a GWN 7615. That's where I'm going with in the new house. I had Ubiquiti access points in the old house, and I love them. So in fact, Andre's next comment says from Unify that I can integrate wireless. So I had Ubiquiti Unify access points in my other house. I love them. I've been doing some testing with the Grand Stream access points over the last several months, and I kind of fell in love with them. So I've decided to go, even though I don't have the single pane of glass anymore, I decided to go with the Grand Stream access points and really, give them a run for their money. So, but yeah. And yes, to answer your question, are there Wi-Fi access points from Unify that I can integrate wireless? Yes. So, if I'm understanding your question correctly. And so, all right. So that's it for the house, real quick. That's not really it for the house. I did end up buying a 12U nav point rack. It's not here. It's in the other room. It's not assembled yet. The box is heavy. I didn't feel like moving it in here. but I did buy the NavPoint 12U rack. I had a 6U rack in the old house, so you know it's a bit of an upgrade for the new house. I do have two of the 24 port TrendNet shielded 1U patch panels. These are the Keystone patch panels. So we're going to be using Keystone jacks instead of just punching down right into the regular, patch panel port terminals. So I got two of those. And again, anything for the house is purchased out of my own funds. I have the access point. I bought two, can't really see them too well, but they're 2.5 foot long SFP Plus DAC cables for the connection to the, well, I didn't get there yet because I haven't shown you everything, but these are going to fit into the mix in the house. You'll see how in a little bit. I have, what else we got here? I have this. Let me switch to this camera here and just zoom in. Yeah. So I have the Sonatec 10 gig. It's actually the Solo 10G PCIe card, one port 10 gig Ethernet PCIe 3.0 card. And that is going in, just hold on. I think I'll bring this up on the screen. It'll be easier for you to see on Amazon because I haven't opened the box yet, but that is going to be going on. Here we go. Let's bring that up. Okay, so that's going to be going into, I should say, not on, this Sonnet Echo Express Thunderbolt 3 edition. It's the 3-slot model. They have a 2-slot model and a 3-slot model. And you can see on the back, here's the 3 slots right here. So I'm excited to get this set up, probably do some videos on it. So the reason I bought the 3-slot, well, here, let me step back and give you my thought process for a second. So in the new house, I want to connect my computer, which currently supports this expansion bay, to give it 10 gigabit Ethernet, right? But I need a 10 gigabit card to go in that chassis, so that this will take care of the supplying 10 gig to the computer as far as the computer's adapter. The reason I bought the 3-slot Sonnet instead of just the single slot is because I haven't ordered it yet, but I want to get the additional, the PCI card that'll give me additional USB 3 ports. So, and then they'll leave me a 3rd slot for future expansion. And one of the things I was looking at, and I'm not going to buy it right now, but it's pretty cool. It's the Blackmagic DeckLink Duo cards, where you can actually send out SDI through converters and then bring those that SDI from the DeckLink card into converters, into HDMI, and get that information into the actual ATEM. So that was my thought process for buying the larger Sonnet expansion enclosure. So yeah. So Andre says, for me, they aren't working fine in the 5 gig range. So Andre, I mean, there are a lot of variables that affect Wi-Fi, right? I mean, how many neighboring access points are there? What is your construction? What kind of walls are they passing through, things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of variables. I wish there was a way to just pinpoint it, but have you tried tweaking the settings? Have you tried adjusting the channels? Things like that. So Steve says, what kind of internet speeds will you be getting at the new house? So We have fiber to the house. In fact, I'm probably going to do a video on that once the ISP comes out. It's fiber to the outside, and then it hands off at an ONT, which is placed on the outside of the house, and then it hands off to copper going into the house. So we currently are paying at the beach house for 500 symmetrical, and that's probably what we're going to do at the house, at the new house as well. It's going to be probably 500 symmetrical. Right now, I don't have the need for a gig. They offer it, but I'm not even doing all this YouTube stuff and live streams. I mean, right now we're just not even putting a dent in the 500 symmetrical. So, but yep, it's not cable. We had cable. We switched to fiber when fiber became available and never looked back. So, thank you for that question, Steve. All right, so let me see. Did I leave anything else out for the house? No. Okay. Moving on real quick, I just want to talk to you about that church project. Again, if you've been following me over the last couple of months, back in the spring, we did a pretty big church project job, a pretty big complex, and I tested everything. We finished in May, the end of May. I tested everything out. I met with the parish tech committee and all the key players involved, and we came up with a plan for cutting over to the new network. Well, that was back in the end of May. There were a couple of things that had to be worked out and ironed out, like their camera system. Without getting into it, just want to say their existing security camera system was just an absolute mess. It was just a disaster. So they needed to work that out, and they were contracted with a separate company that they had a maintenance agreement with a company that did their security cameras. So I was kind of staying, hands off that. I provided that company with, we collabed, we consulted. I knew exactly what I had to give them and what they needed and what ports they needed forwarded and all that kind of stuff. But just the wiring was just a spaghetti mess. And yeah, we won't go any further. So that was one thing that had to be worked out. The other thing was their live streaming setup. So the pastor wanted to move the live streaming setup from one location to another. We talked about upgrading the gear because it's a while. It's time. It needs a refresh, and I talked to them a little bit about the Black Magic line of products. So they're looking at maybe going with an A10 Mini Extreme. So all that needed to be worked out before we actually cut over. Well, needless to say, 3 months have gone by and none of that's been worked out. So finally I reached out to them and said, look, okay, the best case scenario would have been to work all that stuff out and then cut over, right? But we did all that work now and you're just sitting on this brand new network and it's not being utilized. So let's look at plan B. How can we cut over and still address those other issues? So that's what we did this week. We cut over on Wednesday. The ISP came out, not fiber in this case. It was Spectrum cable, business cable. And back in May, they had to trench a line because we brought the WAN, the ISP connection into a different location from where the current location was. So back in May, they trenched a line, and then this guy came out this past Wednesday and then terminated that into a box and brought it into the main rack area. So we got them cut over finally. And yeah, it's been so far up 3 days and it's been flawless. And all those other little things that we talked about are being worked out. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, let's take a look. Anybody in the comments have anything to say? No comments on or opinions on sound blankets versus acoustic panels? Come on, guys. All right. Let me just take a quick drink of water. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So we talked about the channel, we talked about the house, we talked about the church. Let's look at some of the rest of the stuff. And we're doing pretty good on time here. This might be a 45-minute thing. So cool. All right. I mentioned that all the proceeds that this channel earns, whether it's through ads, through Patreon, through super chats, all of it goes back into the channel at all times. In fact, one of the things I bought back in May, was a Blackmagic Hyperdeck Mini Studio to work it into the live streaming setup here. And that, I never mentioned it, but that was courtesy of my viewers and my community. So thank you. And a couple other things we got. I'm not going to put them on the screen, but I have a total here of 4 6 terabytes. So here they are. 4 6 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf NAS drives. I'll tell you what that's for in a minute. And then I have a total of 2 more 4 terabyte Iron Wolf NAS drives. The 2 4 terabyte drives are going into the DS920 that I have that was graciously sent to me by Synology. And I've done quite a few videos so far on the DS920. By the way, we did the last live stream. We did the DS920 unsupported memory upgrade. It's been functioning fine ever since. So haven't had any issues. So 2 of those drives, the 4 terabyte drives, are going into the DS920. Those 4 6 terabyte drives are going into, I'm not going to lift it up. It's really super heavy, but I'm really super stoked. Synology sent me this week a 1621 Plus, the 6-bay unit with the AMD 1500B Ryzen processor, so I'm really psyched about that. I mean, be doing some videos on that, but what they also sent me was the 2, for that unit, they sent me 2 of the NVMe drives. These are 400 gig drives, so I'm going to get those installed in that unit, as well as the 4 6 terabyte drives. And they sent me the, let me just flip it over to the top down. They sent me the E10G 18-T2 10 gig Ethernet card. So that's also going in that 1621 in the expansion bay slot, not the expansion bay, in the PCI slot on the back. So I'm excited about that. I want to thank Synology for sending that out to me. I'm super stoked. Let's take a look at the comments here. Hey, Joe from Controlling Technologies. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. We got Unky Joe. Sorry I'm late. YouTube told me this would be at 6 p.m. Well, sorry, Unky Joe, but I've been following our little Tech Quartet chat, and I see you're busy anyway with your RDP issues, so no worries. I appreciate you even taking the time to be here. Appreciate that. So, all right. So we talked about the 4 terabyte drives. We talked, I don't know if I said gigabyte or 4 terabyte drives before. It's just, you're just getting a pattern. So the 2 4 terabyte drives and the 6 and the 4 6 terabyte drives. I'll get that straight. They're here. I do want to show you 2 more things, and then we'll just go to the chat and see if anybody has anything they want to offer. I got this. Switch to this camera. So this is a Noctua NF-A4X20 fan, and what I'm going to do with this, I'm probably going to do a video on this. This is a super silent fan, and I'm going to actually replace the fan in the Hyperdeck because the stock fan that comes from Blackmagic is just like super, super noisy. I have it buried deep down under my desk, behind, way in front of me, behind the microphone, and I could still hear it. I hope it's not being picked up in the stream. I hope my audio processor is doing a good job with the gate and trying to block a lot of that out. But yeah, it is super noisy. So this guy's going in. Now the thing with this is it's not just going to be unplug the old fan and plug in the new fan. The connector is different, so it's going to be a little cutting and soldering to make it work. So I'm going to cut the old connector off the existing fan and solder it on. I did a little research as far as matching and pinning out and pairing the wires, so I know exactly, you know, how to pair up the wires correctly. And I know it's going to void my warranty, but I have to be honest with you. I can't stand the noise. It is just that loud, and I want to have it in my reachable workflow. So like I want to be able to, like, I can reach for my 810 Mini Extreme. I can reach for my Stream Deck. I can reach here for my iPad. I want to be able to reach for the Hyperdeck Mini Studio. So the only way to do that and have that in the reachable mix is to silent that puppy. So that's what this is going to be. So that's another one of the new objects. I did leave this out before. It's just a, let me see if I can just zoom in on this real quick. Hold on. This is just the RJ45 to SFP Plus module 10G Tech. I've had good luck with that company, especially with the Ubiquiti gear. So I have a pack of 2 here, and these will, so going back, now that you saw all the stuff that I have for the house, right? I have the DAC cables that I'll use to connect the US aggregation switch to the other 2 switches, to the 16150 and to the 24 port, US 24 port. Then these guys, the only other thing I'm gonna plug in that 1621 into the aggregation switch, as well as the computer through that Sonnet enclosure, so that the computer and the NAS are talking through that 10 gig switch. And that's where these are going to come in handy, right? Because we've got to go from RJ45 into the US aggregation switch. So that's what those are for. Let's see what else we have. One last thing. And this guy, I love this thing. This is a surge protector by Triplite. Comes with $50,000 of life insurance, surge protection. What I really like about this, here's its use case. In a smaller residential setting, you're not usually, a lot of times, your average customer is not putting in these huge 6, 12, 15U racks somewhere in a closet. They're just using structured wiring cabinets. At least that's what a lot of the builders do in this area here. So in those structured wiring cabinets, they're either 14 by 20, 20 by 20, 20 by 24, 20 by 28, and they're in wall. And these guys, when you have limited space to work with, these guys are fantastic as far as providing surge protection to those network electronics that go in that structured wiring cabinet. But they're also very flexible because the plugs twist, right? You can turn them and put them in whatever configuration you need. So really handy for that particular use case. Love it. Triplite, not expensive, about $45 worth every penny. So I think that just about does it. Let me look at the comments and see what else we got. Let's go back to the comments. Joe says, you are so relaxed these days streaming. No, Joe, I'm not relaxed streaming. Well, actually, I am. It's the day got off to a crazy start. Just there a lot of things going on. Been fighting with Chrysler Capital. I paid off my truck back in the beginning of the month and should have received the title, according to them, by August 27th. It didn't come, so I called. And I get a different person every time I call. You know how that game goes, right? And in any event, every person I speak to gives me a different answer. One person tells me the title went out on August 12th. Another person tells me the title went out on August 26th. The person today told me the title went out August 27th, but yet my account is in a pending close state. So then I'm arguing with her, not arguing, but saying, well, how could the title have gone out if my account hasn't been closed? So I've been dealing with that kind of mess, and I'm just praying that I didn't get scammed. So after this stream, I'm getting in the truck, driving over to the dealership in the next town over, and having the Ram dealer call Chrysler Capital and make sure they got my payment. Because I did already go to the bank, because just there were a lot of little things not adding up, and the bank was able to, only trace so far. So after this, I'm going out to the Ram dealer and keeping my fingers crossed that $21,000 didn't get deposited by somebody that it shouldn't have. So anyway, so that's how my morning started. And then, as I explained to everybody who was here at the start of the stream, that the technology was just all awry when I got everything. If it could go wrong, it went wrong. So I'm here. We're doing it. I have 14 viewers here, 11 likes, 13 viewers at one point. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy to be here with you. It's Labor Day weekend. We're going to go in. We're going to have a few adult cocktails tonight and the rest of the weekend. So, yeah, it's all good. But anyway. So Joe says, sorry to go on that little rant, but it felt good to get it off my chest. I have 2 Hyperdeck that need a fan replacements when you're done with that one. And yeah, man, let's order the fans. And when I come up to see you, we'll take care of that. Uncle Joe's Playhouse, order a whole home surge protector for your panel and have the builder's electrician install it. Yes, but this is not for me. I'm doing that, Uncle Joe. In fact, the builder's electricians are not installing it, but my own friend who does work with me on my jobs, he will be installing that. This little Trip Light device that I was talking about are for customers. So if I go out and I do a whole house Wi-Fi upgrade and install the router and the switch, and I'm putting everything into that structured wiring cabinet, that's what I use, because I can't put anything bigger because of the form factor. But yes, in my own home, that's exactly what I'm doing. Would never have known you were having a rough day. Well, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. So, all right. Any other thoughts on, I'm really looking for your feedback, because I am undecided on the sound absorption panels versus the sound blankets. I mean, cost-wise, it's obviously a lot more cost-effective to go with the sound blankets, but let's put money aside for a second and let's talk functionality, right? What are your thoughts on the acoustic 2x4 sound panels? Probably when I measured out that room, I'm probably looking at 20. I'm probably looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 on each angled ceiling, so that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4 on each straight wall, so that's 8, 16, and then 4 going above me on the ceiling. So, I mean, we're probably talking at that one that I showed you on Amazon at $65 a piece. We're probably talking $1,400 before tax. So, yeah, I'd like to get your feedback on that if possible. Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. You're doing a great job, sir. Keep up the good working. Everything will work out. I appreciate that. Joe says, from Conjoling, I just bought a bunch of acoustic panels to try. Funny you should ask. I didn't. Now, I see that's cut off on the screen, but It says here, I didn't buy the large ones, those small ones, and they make acoustic art. Yes, and Joe, that's exactly what I'm thinking too. I know you came in a little late, but when I threw this out to the viewers earlier, what I was thinking was, not only cost, but that is a nice room and it's a nice size room. And I'm trying to do it up right this time, not just throw together a studio like I did in my other house and like I'm doing here in this temporary space. I want to do it right, and aesthetics for me is part of it this time around. Although I know aesthetics should come secondary to functionality, right? But I'm thinking if I could do the panels and make those panels look nice and maybe do two colors, maybe do a black and a gray, I'm not sure. Versus just hanging the ugly. I mean, here, look at this. Let me switch to this for a second. 1 second. Let me just switch to camera 8 and go. Look at, they're ugly, right? They work, but they're ugly. So do I put that in my new studio? Or do I go for something that's aesthetically pleasing that I hope will work? So that's where I'm at with this. Hey, James, how are you, buddy? No, that's all right, man. I told the viewers earlier in the stream that it's such a beautiful day here today. And you see, I always wear my Harley gear. And Harley's not sponsoring the channel, but I always wear some form of Harley gear when I do these live streams. And I told them that you and I, and hopefully, well, we were hoping for a few others, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But you and I are definitely getting out tomorrow to take advantage of this beautiful weather and go grab lunch somewhere on the bikes. So, but thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Danielle says, oh, I got to put this on the screen. There we go. Danielle says, any need for a separate surge protector ahead of a home UPS Cyber Power 1000 or APC backup 850? Well, the advantage of if you're talking about a whole home surge protector is it's protecting your whole home, right? Not just the gear that is plugged into the back of, like, say, the Cyber Power or the APC. So, it all depends really on your needs. Let me see. But thank you for joining us, Danielle. Where are you from? Let me know. Unky Joe says, and what is wrong with the thrown together studio? No, Unky Joe. That's not my point. I did it twice, right? And they work. Nothing's wrong with a thrown together studio. In fact, the house is being built from scratch, right? So why not put a little, I feel like I want to put a little thought into it. That's all. I love what you're doing in your studio. Jeremy says, I wish I had enough knowledge about the acoustic panels to give an educated opinion. I am thinking about doing something myself as my channel grows, probably in the spring 2022. Well, Jeremy, if I do get the acoustic panels, which again, I am leaning that way. In fact, it's probably going to be like a hybrid. I know I'm probably going to do some acoustic and then probably right in front of me to just kill that. There's going to be about 6 to 8 feet between the front of my desk and that front window. I'll probably drape a blanket there. But at least I can drape that on a stand or maybe put a ceiling rod and then just hang it. It doesn't really have to be there all the time. James from Unbridled Emotion says they would have worked in my studio, but not in your new studio. Steve says, spend a little more and go with the panels. Yeah, Steve, that's kind of the way I'm leaning. We have been just spending so much money lately, though, with everything that, the house is one thing. You have a contract, you have a price, but then you got, the landscaping went over so many thousand, the appliances went over so many thousand of the allotment, this went over, that went over. So in any event, been digging deep into the pockets the last couple of weeks, but with that said, right, I feel like what the heck is a few more. So I'm leaning towards going with the panels. Unbridled Emotions says they really should sponsor you. Harley, that is. I knew what you meant. You're coming across really well. Sound, sound content, etc. Thank you, James. Sound blanket on cart panels for permanent. Sound blanket on cart. Sound blanket on cart. I got you, comma, panels for permanent. Yep. Danielle's from the New England area. Danielle, thank you for being here. I think this is your first time on the stream. Welcome. Unky Joe says, we spent a week cleaning the house last month. Now it's time to reorg the studio. I have big plans and small budget. Yeah, I was kind of trying to keep it big plans and small budget, but it's like I said, it's not really working out that way. So let's see here. Let me try something here. I just want to see if this works. Bear with me. I'm just learning my switcher as I go. Let's see if that alpha channel graphic works. Looks like it did. Yay. Awesome. Okay. As you can tell, do I love toys or what? I love toys. All right, so let's see. We've been going just about 51 minutes, and I was hoping to keep it to 45 minutes to an hour. We still have 15 people here and 11 likes, so if you would, please be kind enough and hit that like button if you're still here. David Grishko, if you're here still, tomorrow's video, you might want to make sure you take a look at that. So what's coming up as far as videos? Well, obviously, a lot of Synology videos. I'm going to be doing some videos on the 1621, probably, you know, from the basic setup to more involved stuff. I'm going to do some things between the 1621 and the DS920, especially in separate locations. Do some things like with hyper backup off site, snapshot replication, things like that. So got a lot of Synology stuff coming down the pike. I'll probably do a video on that fan replacement on the HyperDeck Mini, and yeah, so there's a lot going on. I'll be doing some more footage at the house once I get in there and get everything terminated and tested and get the rack up. So yeah. Anyway, so good things coming down the pike. And yes, I will probably do a 15K giveaway. My channel is slow and steady, right? It's not, like I said, I was hoping to hit 20K by the end of 2021. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. It might be more around maybe 16,500. But that's okay. Like I said, the fact that I have even one person that subscribed to the channel just blows my mind, right? Never mind having 15. But yeah, it's slow and steady. I try not to get discouraged. I try not to look at the numbers. I try not to compare myself with other channels, because if you start doing that stuff, you start driving yourself crazy. And I've met a lot of new creators, creators that are just getting started with their channels, trying to grow their channels. And you know, when we've developed a friendship and support each other, and you know, the advice I give them is, you know, just stick to the game plan. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're passionate about what you're doing and you're really truly looking to help others and share the knowledge that you gain, then that's all you can do. That's the course to hold. The viewers will come, the subscriptions will come, as long as you focus on providing quality content and engaging with your viewers. And you know, that takes a while to learn. It doesn't come overnight, but I'm practicing what I preach to some of these friends that I've made with smaller channels even than mine. And I consider, you know, my channel a small channel in the big picture of things. But just, you know, I practice what I preach. Just stick to the game plan, and you know, stay true to yourself, and stay true to your community, and try to provide quality content. So in any event, yeah, let's see, we got a couple more comments. Joe says, I'm thinking about doing sound blankets on garment racks on wheels. Joe, I was thinking the same thing. Believe it or not, I want to be able to just move things around, put them there when I need them. It's exactly the same concept. Can bring them out when needed, but not, yeah, exactly, 100%. David says, I'm still here, just working on the side. Unbridled Emotions says 137 subscribers. Seriously proud of you, my brother. You're a success in my. Oh, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Hey, it's been 5 years, right? 5 years to get to 15,000 subs. The first 3 years, the channel like really crawled. I've only seen a little accelerated growth maybe in the last year and a half. So, yeah, just stick to the game plan. Slow and steady wins the race, right? All right, GMC Sports says, watching from North Dakota, found your channel today about your Synology photo sharing. Love your content and subscribe. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, GMC Sport. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the community. And I have more Synology videos coming. So Danielle says, although I have a 1621 Plus that I use with ABB, snapshots, hyper backup, and C2 only used for computer backup, I can't say I still have total confidence in it still using other backup drives. Well, here's what I hear you. And, as far as my opinion is concerned, and this is just my personal opinion, right? I don't consider a NAS a backup. Now, a lot of people do. A lot of people think, oh, I have a NAS, I'm just going to back everything up. There's no harm in redundancy, right? I back up my NAS. So I currently, like my DS2 16 plus 2, I currently back that up to external drives. I've just started to send snapshot replication from the DS2 16 plus to the DS920 plus. So, redundancy is the key, right? If you're looking at a NAS as your backup, then you have to rethink your school of thought or philosophy, right? Because you're storing things on the NAS, but then you need to back that up and then back that up. So it's I get what you're saying about not trusting it, and it looks, you do, you use it with hyper backup and you use it with C2. So, but you can never have enough redundancy. Ashley says, Tony. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the live stream. And Joe says, don't forget about the server I am sending you with all these new Synology. Yes, Joe. In fact, don't send it, right? If the things we've been talking about plan out for the end of the month, then I'll just drive it home, right? When I come up to that area. So save the shipping. So. Anyway, let's see, 258. I still got to get over to that RAM dealer in Wilmington and see about my $21,000 check that supposedly went to Chrysler Capital and go from there. So with that, folks, I definitely want to thank you all for being here. It's been fun. Enjoy the holiday weekend. If you observe Labor Day weekend here in the States, whatever you do, have fun, but be safe, be smart about it. And I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Look for information forthcoming on a 15K giveaway. We'll have to figure out what it is we're going to give away and how we're going to give it away. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, because Willie Howe does this all the time. I'm going to go out on a limb and say November's coming up. The Tech Quartet did their first initial Tech Quartet last November, and we've talked about doing something all year long. And I finally said to the guys yesterday, look, we really haven't done anything since the original Tech Quartet aired. So since November's only a few months away, we should consider doing an anniversary edition of the Tech Quartet this coming November. So hopefully that'll happen. Look for that. And I want to thank you all for being here. Joe says, great stream. Thank you, Joe, my friend. Thank you all for being here. Be safe out there. Check out tomorrow's video. Look for the Synology videos and other videos coming down the road. And with that, we'll see you all next time.